Okay, so the open source AI landscape just got a pretty big shakeup. We're really moving beyond models that just, write well.
Yeah, it feels like we're stepping into a new phase, agentic systems, real ones.
Exactly. And that's what we're digging into today with the sources on Kimi K2 Thinking. It's this huge new release, and honestly, the early takes sound like it might actually be a significant step.
And that term agentic system, it's not just fancy talk, it's really the core idea here, the thing you need to latch onto.
Right.
It's designed from the ground up to be, well, systematic. It makes a plan, uses tools in a logical way. It even checks its own steps. One reviewer nailed it, I think, calling it a sober engineer on a project.
A sober engineer, I like that. So our goal here is to sift through all the material we've got, the architecture details, the hands-on tests, benchmark results, pricing, the works, and really pull out the essentials for you.
Yeah, so you can walk away knowing what actually makes this Kimi K2 thing different, and frankly, whether it's worth trying out where you work.
The initial vibe seems to be that its real strength isn't just like raw size, but how disciplined it is when it executes tasks.
That's the takeaway. If you need AI that can handle complex plans, juggling lots of tool calls without getting lost, this is probably where you should start looking now.
Okay, let's break that down. Starting with the architecture, it's a 1 trillion parameter model, which sounds massive, but what's under the hood with this design?
So it uses a mixture of experts' design, MOE, and that's really key.
Why MOE?
Well, it lets them balance the sheer scale, that huge knowledge base from 1 trillion parameters, with practical running costs. Because here's the thing, only about 32 billion parameters actually fire up for any given token you process.
Ah, okay, so you get the benefit of all that knowledge, that breadth, but you're not paying the full computational price or waiting forever every single time. It just brings in the relevant experts when needed.
Exactly right. That architecture enables the behavior, but the behavior is where this whole agentic idea really comes through. We've seen models use tools before, sure. Why is this supposed to be different?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? We've all been kind of burned by models that promise multi-step reasoning and then just wander off script after step 2.
Right. Well, the sources point to two really practical differences here. First is what they call tool-centric thinking. This model seems capable of staying on track, sticking to its plan, while making like 200, maybe 300 tool calls sequentially.
Wow, 200 to 300, that's a big jump.
It is. It's the difference between, a smart autocomplete calling a function once and a genuine assistant that can manage a whole complex workflow.
So it just doesn't lose the plot over that many steps. The complexity it can handle is way higher.
And the second thing is this adaptive ability, test time scaling, they call it. When Kimi K2 hits a problem it thinks is genuinely hard, like a complex proof or a tricky bit of code,
Yeah.
it can actually decide to spend more thinking time on it. It basically chooses to slow down a bit to get it right, rather than just taking one quick shot. That's how it can sometimes outperform bigger models that just use the same effort level for everything.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It acts more like like that methodical teammate you mentioned, someone who keeps the goal in mind and follows the think, act, check, revise loop.
Precisely. That's the idea.
Okay, so those are the claims about the architecture and the agentic design, but, talk is cheap. How did it actually perform when reviewers put it through its paces on real-world tasks?
Right. The proof is in the pudding. They looked at two common workflows, coding and research, situations where you can't just bluff, you have to show your work.
Let's start with coding. What was the test?
It was pretty practical. Build a simple single-page app, let users paste CSV data, see it in a table with pagination on the client side, and then export rows they've filtered. It's a multi-step task, needs coherence.
And what stood out in how Kimi K2 handled it?
Well, it generated clean React code, which is good, added the pagination helper, fine, but the key thing was iteration. The first version had a common bug with the filtering logic, an edge case.
Okay, it happens all the time.
Yeah, but Kimi K2 didn't just stop. It apparently used an internal code interpreter loop to check the rejects filter, figure out the problem, and then simplify the code to fix it. The review said the fix was grounded, not theatrical, disciplined.
So it treated the code like a system needing proper debugging, not just outputting a first draft. What about the research task?
That was challenging too. Something like, compare 3 open source ways to do long context retrieval, then give me a 1-page runbook on how to implement one.
Okay, so that tests search, Understanding nuance, summarizing, and structuring information.
Exactly. And it reportedly did well. It searched, seemed to pull info from primary sources, summarized the trade-offs between the options, and then produced a runbook. And the runbook wasn't just text. It had actual commands, config snippets, even a rollback plan.
A rollback plan, that's thorough.
Yeah. And it apparently cited what was important and skipped the fluff. Stayed within the evidence, no hand-waving.
That really backs up this sober engineer idea. That consistent performance across many tool interactions seems key.
Yeah, that reliability over theater theme from the review, which leads us nicely into the benchmarks. We should look at the numbers behind the anecdotal hype.
Absolutely. Though, we should remember the caution from the source. Benchmarks aren't the real world. They're more like a ceiling. But they do show strengths. So, where did Kimi K2 really stand out in the data, especially on those tool-using tasks it's meant for?
The numbers definitely echo the hands-on results. It leads where planning and tool use are critical. So take reasoning. There's a benchmark called Humanity's Last Exam. Sounds dramatic, I know, but it tests advanced reasoning. In the setup with tools, Kimi K2 scored 44.9%.
Okay, 44.9%. How does that stack up against, say, the big closed models?
It's notably better than GPT-5 in that test, which came in at 41.7%, and quite a bit ahead of Claude Sonnet 4.5, which was down at 32.0%. But maybe the most telling score was in Agentic search.
Agentic search. Tell me about that benchmark.
It uses BrowseComp. That's kind of the standard for measuring how well a model handles complex, multi-step web searching and navigation tasks. Kimi K2 got 60.2% accuracy there. 60%. And the others.
Again, clearly ahead. GPT-5 was 54.9%, and Claude Sonnet 4.5 was way back at 24.1%. That 60% really validates what the reviewer saw in terms of its disciplined search.
Interesting. And what about math? That often needs a tool like a Python interpreter.
Yeah, with Python help, it scored almost perfectly, 99.1% on the AME 2025 math problems.
Okay, so on coding tests like SWE-Bench, things are closer. I see Kimi K2T at 71.3%, GPT-5, 74.9%, Claude Sonnet, 4.5, 77.2%. They're all kind of in the same ballpark there.
Right, and that's maybe expected when all the top models are using sophisticated tool augmentation for coding now. But the takeaway seems to be that Kimi K2 really pulls ahead when the task demands using tools for complex reasoning or searching.
So the bottom line from the benchmarks is, if your work involves building agents for research or complex coding assistance or anything needing reliable tool chains, these numbers basically say, yeah, go ahead, run a pilot.
Pretty much. It justifies taking a serious look. Okay, let's shift gears to the practical side. We've seen the scores, heard the anecdotes. How do you actually use this thing? What hardware do you need? And what does it cost?
Right, reality check time. Deployment options are pretty standard. A web chat interface or the developer API. It uses the usual OpenAI-compatible SDKs, so integration should be straightforward.
Any key tips from the sources for developers using the API?
Yeah, structure your agent like a pipeline. Stream the output tokens, definitely log all the tool interactions, inputs and outputs into some kind of scratch pad. Gives you that explicit memory and audit trail.
Makes sense. But what about running it yourself? It's open source. Can I run it on my laptop? Probably not, right?
Yeah, let's be honest, as the source puts it. Physics is physics. The native INT4 weights are around 600 gigabytes.
600 gigs. Okay, definitely not my laptop.
Right. To run that locally with decent speed, you're talking a serious server. Think 512 gigs of RAM, probably more, fast memory, data center grade GPUs. For production, the advice is pretty clear. Use the API for reliability.
Which brings us straight to cost. And the pricing model sounds interesting, designed to reward good habits.
This was actually one of the more fascinating bits. The pricing heavily favors cache hits. For the main Kimi K2 Thinking model, if your input prompt hits the cache, it's 0.15 per million tokens.
Okay. 15 cents. And if it's a cache miss,
jumps up to 0.6 sisters per million tokens.
Wow, that's 4 times more expensive for a miss.
Exactly. Which means if you design your system smartly, maybe reusing setup instructions or system prompts,
you could potentially cut your operating costs significantly, maybe by up to 75% for those input tokens.
Absolutely. The big tip for budgeting is pin a stable system prompt for recurring tasks. Maximize those cache hits. It makes long-running agents much more predictable and cost-effective.
The sources also did a quick head-to-head with Ring1T, another big open model, based on the hands-on tests. Any key differences stand out?
Yeah, it seemed to come down to methodology and how easy it was to follow its thinking. Kimi K2 apparently showed better planning discipline. Its plan stayed focused over more steps. Ring 1T, while clearly powerful, sometimes got sidetracked exploring less relevant possibilities.
And the search behavior you mentioned earlier, that was stronger too.
Definitely stronger, which lines up with that BrowseComp benchmark score. And one more thing for developers. The logs were apparently cleaner.
Cleaner logs, how so?
When Kimi K2 was fixing a coding error, it supposedly narrated fewer dead ends or irrelevant attempts on its way to the actual solution. Makes debugging the agent's process much easier.
So the overall verdict seems to be, if you need that careful, methodical agent that really treats the tool loop seriously, plans, executes, checks, Kimi K2 is probably the one to try first right now.
That seems to be the consensus from the material, yeah. Which brings us to some crucial practical advice for working with any of these thinking agents, because how you set it up really matters.
Right. The model's only part of the equation. Tip number 1.
Define success clearly. State the goal, spell out the constraints, tell the agent exactly what a good outcome looks like. Don't be vague.
Makes sense. Second,
Pin that stable system prompt. We just talked about the cost savings, but it's also crucial for behavioral consistency. You want the agent to act predictably.
third tip.
Log everything. Treat it like a proper pipeline. Log the tool calls, the outputs, any code interpreter logs, everything. You need that audit trail to understand why it did what it did and to reproduce things.
And the last one, about benchmarks.
Yeah, don't just rely on public leaderboards.
Yeah.
Build your own small, custom evaluation set, maybe 10 tasks that are highly relevant to your specific use case.
And track what matters to you.
Exactly. Track your win rate, how long it takes, the cost per task. Those are the metrics that tell you if it's actually working for your needs.
Stepping back, why is this release potentially a big deal in the grand scheme?
Well, from a governance perspective, it's important. It makes running really capable open source agents more practical. Teams can build serious AI workflows without being locked into a proprietary black box.
Which puts pressure on the closed systems too, right? To innovate on their pricing, their features, how their models think.
For sure, it fuels competition, which is good for everyone using these tools.
So the final conclusion from the reviewer seemed pretty clear.
Yeah, that Kimi K2 Thinking is arguably the most balanced open model right now if you need long tool chains and disciplined step-by-step reasoning. It's not flashy maybe, but it's like that reliable engineer. Reads the requirements, writes the code, runs the tests, fixes the bugs, gets the job done.
Which leads back to that core idea the sources kept hitting. The best open source model isn't about winning a benchmark trophy.
No, it's about finding the one that makes your team genuinely faster and more effective without you losing trust in the process.
Okay, so final thought for everyone listening.
Treat evaluating these models like a continuous process, a discipline. Don't just test it once. Run a proper pilot. Measure your success rate. Measure the time it takes. Measure the cost.
And if it works for you.
If the numbers meet your bar, then standardize the agent loop, the whole process around the model, the prompts, the logging, the evaluation, not just the model itself. That's where the real work and the real value lies.